Hello, Dota 2 fans! This is Chicago Ted back for a good game between two Reddit Dota 2 leaguers, and that it would be Well Warded versus Ground Pound. So, looks to be a good game that we've got set up tonight, so let's go ahead and run on into this drafting phase. There we go, all up and running. So, for those of you who do not know me, this is Chicago Ted, of course, casting with Sir Rabid Koala, who is going to be acting as my stats man. I do not have a co-caster tonight, but I'm working on it, guys. I'm working on it. All the co-casters seem to be taken and or busy, so it'll happen eventually. Alright, so, going right on into this, we got Well Warded banning out the Bat Rider. Pretty common ban that we've seen very often in most of these games. In fact, I think he's one of the most banned out heroes that ever. I imagine about 99%. But Darkseer are gonna get banned out from Ground Pound. So evening up the obvious bans on either side of the draft, and it's just going to go the same old banning phases we've usually seen. So nothing too outstanding about these, but with the Naix being banned, we're just going to see a little bit of OP getting dropped out with every ban, right?
10 seconds remaining.
I personally don't believe these heroes are OP, but hey, it's a drafting phase. There's not much interesting going on right here until the first picks come out. Nyx Assassin, pretty standard stuff. Standard stuff all around. I guess I can go ahead and give away for those who do not know. Bat Rider, really good initiator. Nyx Assassin, really good ganker. Darkseer, really good offlaner. And Naix, a really good carry, or rather Lifestealer, a really good carry. Naix is his real name, although Lifestealer is his in-game tag, and I should really refer to him as such, but it's ingrained in my head, the Naix, and a lot of people get it confused with the Nyx, but who knows? I know. Alright, so first pick from Ground Pound, and we're gonna see the Lone Druid come out, so really opening it up for Well Warded to say, Ground Pound are going for a tank as well as a heavy pusher, so why don't we pick up some anti-push, maybe a Bane or a Keeper of the Light, or something to just take down that bear, like an Ursa you could even run, or anything really that can kite out the bear and deal massive damage to Lone Druid as well. And you've got pretty much your count on a Lone Druid. He's a very good, very tanky late game hero, can pretty much win any 1v1 situation. But in terms of the ability to survive mostly anything, it's not great. If his bear isn't doing damage, then he doesn't have much of a chance to do much. And with Bane popping off the Enfeeble on the bear isn't going to be doing much until you got really good items out. And even then, I mean, Enfeeble, a really good ability to have versus any hero that does a lot of damage. So each team, still not in a mature phase of their draft just yet, but we can see a lot of possibilities coming out. Ground Pound could go for maybe a Luna and possibly try to take an early Roshan, finishing up the draft with an Ursa. Or that'd be a little bit too greedy, but it's possible. They could also go for more pushy supports like a Leshrac, or they could even pick up a Keeper of the Light themselves and just go for straight up early game push, group up, grab as many towers as possible to get farm on that bear, because, you know, tower gold is as good as any other gold, and if you take out all 6 towers, 1200 gold just straight up is not bad, plus lane farm. You've got yourself a lot there, and a lot for the taken, right for the taken. So Nature's Prophet gonna provide a little bit of split push against this Lone Druid's push, but all in all, I'm thinking Well Warded need to go more anti-push right now, because if they go for a split, Lone Druid is going to punish that split push. He can push down towers faster than almost any other hero in the game, unless Well Warded decide to go for a Lycan pickup, in which case I'd render it fairly even in both sides. But Ground Pound can now sees that well-worded are going for some more global presence, so why not go for anti-global? One of my favorite heroes to fight against the global Nature's Prophet is a Spectre, because wherever that Nature's Prophet is, the Spectre can just pop a roll and be right there, and there's nothing a Nature's Prophet hates more than a Spectre who's got Radiance Burn diffusing up your ass, and that's it's something that I really love to do whenever I get the chance. So obviously, Leshrac finalize or finish molding up their pushing lineup a little bit more with the Leshrac pickup I mentioned earlier. He's got really good push with his Diabolic Edict. As long as there are no enemy units around, it'll focus completely on the tower, and you can trust me when I say it burns the tower down so fast. In fact, I imagine a fully lone druid with the buff on his Demolish, I think the buff is called, with Demolish on his bear, plus a Leshrac hitting that tower with Diabolic Edict. I imagine you could see towers going down in less than 2 seconds.
10 seconds.
I think it's that strong of push. So, we're heading back into a little bit of the banning phase here, and we see Juggernaut going out as well as the Gyrocopter. So, a little bit more diverse in the bans we're seeing. Juggernaut, a good mid to early late game carry. He's got great damage, scales well with his crit. He's got built-in healing, so he can be able to shrug off a lane harass rather easily. Whereas Gyrocopter, a heavy late game damage dealer with his Flat Cannon. Although I imagine in the meta, I'm calling it right now, Gyro is going to be replaced by Medusa rather soon, as her split shot is really good, actually, as I've been finding out rather recently. And with her ultimate, it makes her a lot more stronger in the mid game. But of course, she's not in Captain's mode right now. I imagine she'll be pretty much first pick ban material as soon as she comes back, makes her way into Captain's mode. Death Prophet, a great mid hero, able to push down towers really fast. So well warded, seeing, okay, they're going tower push. Let's take out a healer in the form of a Juggernaut, and let's take out another insane tower push. But power push works just as well, I imagine. And that's the Death Prophet. And Ground Pound are saying, okay, anti-push, let's get rid of that. And Gyrocopter with Flat Cannon is a really good anti-push. And Keeper of the Light, with his Illuminate, can nuke down waves rather quickly, and as well as put plenty of damage on that bear. Shadow Shaman being picked out. Not a very popular or common pick up you see, but we take a look at his abilities. He's pretty much saying, okay, you guys have push, well, I got Ether Shock, which is going to make it difficult for you to push. I have my wards, which mean that if you fail to push, and I have an exposed tower to fight, I'm going to drop my Serpents around it, and that tower is going to go down really quick. In fact, we saw recently, and I'm not sure how recently, but it was one of these games where a Shadow Shaman went Aghanim's and Refresher's Orb. And my co-caster, or my statsman, is laughing in the background. It was pretty hilarious. But we just look at that, that's a lot of damage. And even just Plague or Serpent Wars themselves, without all that extra buffing and all that extra damage, they're still really powerful, and they're good for push. So, Dragon Knight, he's saying, okay, I got splash damage now, fear me. And that's exactly what Dragon Knight does. He tanks up, gets plenty of damage, and then with level 2 or 3 to Elder Dragon form, that splash damage is going to make him one force to be reckoned with. Although Luna, a good answer to that with her Moon Blaze, going to be bouncing around target to target. So if I were to take a guess, I imagine we're going to see towers dropping like flies in this game. We see two really good pushing teams, pushing lineups. And I think well-worded are just taking some of these heroes just because they don't want Ground Pound to get them. But with a Chen pickup, you can pick up a few Dark Troll summoners and have lots of tiny little skeletons to deal a lot of damage to the tower. I'm holding to it, guys. If we don't see a tower down the first 5 minutes, both of these teams have failed in my book.
5 seconds remaining.
But of course, we'll just leave that up to them. So, coming into the final banning phase here, a 1-in-1 ban, Tinker, getting banned out. They see Grounded Pound don't have a really solid mid. They do have Dragon Knight, but aside from that, they want to get rid of the more pushing-oriented global heroes. And when you get rid of a hero like Tinker, you leave Nature's Prophet around to do whatever the hell he wants without fear of a Tinker being around riding his ass all game. And so they're really trying to handle and trying to bottle, or throttle rather, this pushing lineup that Ground Pound is showing, and trying to get their own little anti-push, whereas Ground Pound are saying, okay, you guys got Serpent Wards, you guys have the trees, why don't we make sure that you guys can't put us all into one place so that we don't get all affected by that? Because for those who don't know, Serpent Wards do deal splash damage, and it is scary. So yeah, take out the Magnus, and then what are you left with? You're left with a team that's almost relying on them sticking close together. Well, not entirely with the Luna's Eclipse, but
5 seconds remaining.
you're trying to get as much damage out on them as possible, but if they're all split up and they're kiting you around, it's not going to be too good for you. So, as we jump right on to the final picking phase of this draft, we're excited to see how these lineups will round out, and obviously both teams looking for a solid mid. Even though Well Warded can put that Shadow Shaman in the mid position, with the Bane's Nightmare setup, which arguably isn't the best setup in the game, but is still a pretty good way to get people out of position. But with that, Shackles are really effective, and the Razor being picked up by Well Worded. So, I don't know, I believe the ultimate attacks the tower when there are no other units around. So, I'm thinking that that's a fairly good pick to have, and we just have to wait and see what Ground Pound say to respond to this. They can go for a tri-lane support. They could go for... Oh god, what are they doing? Okay. So Chen's going to be jungling.
5 seconds remaining.
Maybe Lone Druid off lane with Leshrac Dragon Knight
Reserve time.
and the safe lane, and someone mid. Or pick up a Sven for the safe lane with the Leshrac, have the Dragon Knight mid, Shen jungle, Lone Druid off lane. So yeah, either put the Dragon Knight in the safe lane with the Leshrac and have someone mid, or pick another safe lane hero and put the Dragon Knight in the mid lane and have the safe laner go with Leshrac. So they can pretty much pick and choose what they want to do right now, and they're using all their sweet time to talk it over, which is exactly what I think they should be doing. Pretty much this pick is going to decide whether or not they win this draft, because as of right now, that Razor most definitely is going to dominate the mid lane if it's a competent Razor, and you've got a team that's going to anti-push you really hard. So you pick up a lane that works really well, and you could have a lot of early game dominance, which is going to translate to late game dominance with the late game potential of this team. But if you pick weak lanes, then you're suffering from a lot of potential hurt in the near future. So using up all that time, are they just going to random it?
5 seconds remaining.
No. No, they're not. They're going to go with the Lycanthrope. So, most definitely, Dragon Knight is going to mid with the Leshrac Lycanthrope playing together in the safe lane. At least I think. Let's go ahead on into this game and decide, or let them decide for themselves. We just let the final two heroes on Ground Pound decide their hero, make their selection, and we'll be good to go. I can announce the teams right now, and it would be just as easy as waiting for in-game. But if I get cut off, then it's really hard to get that going. So let's just stare at this pretty screen right now until they, the final Well Worded. There we go. So the game is paused. Brilliant. Gives me a chance to announce the teams right now on Well Worded, rather. Puppy pause. For those who don't know, that's another team in the league. Anyway, for Well Worded, we have Wardmancer playing the Razor, Cryptic Dark on the Shadow Shaman, Wax running around on the Nature's Prophet, Aj K dropping the Lucid Beams and dropping the base on the Luna, and Brave Bird disrupting them out on the Bane. Meanwhile, for Ground Pound, we got on the Leshrac Doyle points, Coffee playing Dragon Knight, Tenkin on the Lycanthrope, Azer Veneer, my good buddy, playing the Lone Druid, and Kodiak dominating creeps and popping one hell of a wheelie on his little lion there on the Chen. So here we go, guys. Right in the middle of a pause right now. We have a little bit of a bathroom break. I understand, you know, nature doesn't wait, so why don't we analyze this right now? Or analyze that. So it looks like well worded. They're in the Chen group, and they're 0-1 in this league. I have no idea what the meta score is. Someone's gonna have to describe that to me so I can bring the knowledge down on you guys. But for now, I'll just assume that that means it's not a great thing. So I'll just take it that they're at the disadvantage. But we'll have to wait until we see Ground Pound's stats in this game. So we'll wait for Stats Man to get those up. Right now, we'll just look at Roshan. How in the meta their picks and bans were. Okay, I don't really think that's a true test of how good the drafts are. So don't assume Metascore is in any way drafting prowess at all. So just some little extra tidbits, I guess. Alright, so ground coffee, grabbing some coffee, or whatever the drink of choice is. If it isn't coffee, I'm thinking it's pretty sacrilege. Alright, so, as soon as this puppy pause is done, we can get on this game, but for now, I'm thinking a level 1 Roshan from Well Worded. Sorry, no, from Ground Pound. Just look at it. They have a tank. If you dominate a Satyr Hellcaster, then you've got some regen, although those don't spawn till 30 seconds, so maybe you can dominate Roshan, right? You got the bear, you got Lycanthrope, and Doyle points, doing whatever Leshracs do. I don't know, could be a level 1 Roshan. We'll just have to wait and see. Oh, man. Alright, so it looks like Ground Pound tied their first series 1-1. So I'm thinking they're at the slight advantage in this game, although we can't really be sure, as we don't know the skill of who they played against. But alright, so as soon as we're all good, we have the go-go's, the G's flying. The only other time you'll see this is at the end of the game, so let's get ahead and get on going into this best of 2 series game 1. And Chen picking up the dust, level 1. Meanwhile, Nature's Prophet blocking the hard camp. What's going on here? He's blocking all the camps here. Oh man, every single camp I think he just blocked. He might not have blocked this one. I don't know if this is right on the edge of the spawn box or not, but he may well have just blocked almost every single one of these camps. It looks like Chen's getting ready to Lycanthrope isn't going to be able to jungle, but Chen's getting ready to drop his sentry wards just in case, but I think this is the only one that he'll actually de-ward. I don't think he's going to think to de-ward this one, and I don't think he's going to think to de-ward this one. For those who are watching on their own free cam, in the Dota TV and not actually watching my player perspective or my spectator perspective, I'm talking about the 2 sentry wards. I don't think those are going to be de-warded. Anyway, so they have 3 men hidden up in their own jungle. So I thought with the smoke that there was going to be a 5-man gank level 1, but I guess not. They're instead going to let their jungle be warded. Leshrac's going to pick up an invisibility rune. And Dire sees that completely. They know that he picked it up because, well, they have pretty much total vision. In fact, I don't think there's anything on this in this jungle that they don't really see happening, aside from a few little dark points. Meanwhile, Razor taking every single point from this bear. Let me take a minute here. I was wrong. It looks like Nature's Prophet's going to be sitting in the middle lane, and Razor's going to be offlane against the bear. That's perfect, because with the static link, that bear is doing no damage.
Dire's top
Brilliant.
is under attack.
Absolutely brilliant. In fact, I think I recall seeing a game recently in a pro game where they did just that. So, Sentry Ward does go down. They block their own camp, but he doesn't care. He wants to get rid of that ward, and he does. Leshrac, no more invisibility, so no blind ganks coming out just yet, but as I say that, Coffee taking a little bit of auto attack damage from the mid as he gets more and more levels into his Dragon's Blood. Then he's just going to be able to shrug that off. Meanwhile, Lycan doing a good job getting some last hits. Let's pull up the last hitting chart right now. We got Luna sitting at the top with Nature's Prophet, as Luna should be, with a Lunar Blessing. She is one of the hardest hitters early game. In fact, if you go for what I call the damage build, which is 4 Iron Branches, a double Tangos, and a Ring of Protection, then you level up stats in Lunar Blessing. You do 100 damage at like 3 or 4 minutes. It is absolutely insane. But, of course, you can also go the shotgun build, which is just go for full Lucent Beam, which also does a lot of damage. Basically, Luna deals a shit ton of damage if you know how to play her. And I'm thinking Akin knows how to play her. So, right now on this tri-lane, or should I say dual lane, it looks like their final guy is actually in the jungle. Yeah, that's right. So this isn't going to be a tri-lane. It never was a tri-lane. It never was supposed to be a tri-lane. The bear right now doing 20 damage, and yet Ace Vernier doing a good job, still getting last hits, and still sitting at the top of the board, or near the top, despite the static link. So, mad props to him. If you watch this game, Azer, you are not too bad, not too shabby, but Razor trying to give him a run for his money, sitting 9-0, and looks like Lycan taking a little bit of harass, but dealing some harass to the Luna in the process, and nothing much is going to come out of this. But with this offensive tri-lane, we're going to start seeing kills erupting from this lane really fast if they're not careful, and only 2 people is going to mean that they're going to have a little bit more trouble. Luna sitting rather low. If she gets a blind stun off and they're able to do something with it without a nightmare coming up fast enough, that Luna's going to have no follow-up to do any damage to her. But of course that requires getting the stun, which is rather risky at this point. And there's a new icon for couriers, it looks like. The Smeevil getting its own custom icon. And a little bit of aggression coming up bottom. Doyle Pants getting shackled up. First Blood going the way of Cryptic Dark. And it looks like Nature's Prophet rotated in just to get that, and it was effective. And now Tenkin on the back foot as he's sitting against 4 heroes. Dragon Knight, though, getting free farm in the middle lane. And here we go. Tower going to go down in the first 5 minutes. Hopefully. Hopefully I was right, guys. I really want to be right in this. Luna taking a lot of damage, though. He's going to be having a little bit of trouble. Shen farming the enemy jungle. And they're still going after this tower. There's only 2 heroes here to stop it. No real rotations in. They should just give up this tower unless they really plan on having heroes come in and defend it. Static Link getting blocked out with only a couple seconds, and Luna might actually go down here, but it looks like they're going to turn it right around Lycan, who Quelling Bladed through a tree and is going to be alive for a little bit longer. Meanwhile, the bear not taking too much from the Static Link, so Razor not doing as much as he could, but it looks like Lone Druid disconnecting from the game, and he is online. So maybe a little bit of an issue, maybe a little bit of a lag issue, but as far as puppy pauses go, this is the most strategic looking pause I think I've seen in a while, actually. You've got Dragon Knight sitting in the sidelines, Leshrac getting prepared to drop the base. And Lycanthrope just staying in the back lines, but he does have two wolves, and he does have Howl. So I know this is not a tactical pause, but if it were one, I'd believe it. Alright, so, okay, go. Do we have the official word from everyone? The G's have thrown, and they're going to get ready to go in on this, but they're not quite committed. Not quite committed. Here comes the Dragon Knight, but the stun completely missing. Off of 2 and the Dragon Knight getting shackled, but it looks like Lycanthrope should be able to turn around on this on the Shadow Shaman. Although Ground Coffee on the Dragon Knight taking a lot of damage from the Luna. Another pause. It looks like Aether Veneer on the Lone Druid is having a lot of issues right now. But I think Cryptic Dark is going to live. Nightmare saving him from certain death. And Ground Coffee, as soon as this Lucent Beam comes off cooldown, he's gone. He is a goner. Ground Coffee, not enough to keep him alive. Maybe a little bit left on the bottle to make it so that he doesn't completely die from the Lucent Beam. But you got 3 heroes with a lot of attack speed. And it looks like Nature's Prophet going to be able to TP right up on head. No! He turns right around, and he throws a Breathe Fire. And is able to pick up the kill on Luna. Couldn't have done that without a pause right there, guys. So, unfortunate that there had to be pauses, but if anything, that turned that engagement from a total loss into Dragon Knight picking up a kill, and it looks like Chen trying to snipe off the courier, but it moves a little bit too fast, and Razor taking a lot of damage from this bear. In fact, with the rotations in from Chen, he could very well go down. The Penitence doing a lot of damage. He's going to go down to some quick auto attacks, but Aether Veneer taking a lot of damage from the tower. Could he go down? No. The aggro shifts and he's alive. The pings though. Nature's Prophet is alive. Is the Prophet going to go ahead and holla get Dala on him? No, he's not. So Lone Druid going to decide to push down a tower. 5 minutes, the tower still hasn't fallen. So my prediction was wrong, but looks like both teams have been quite occupied as of right now. And here comes Razor, and here comes the Nature's Prophet. Razor getting his quick little static field out. And Prophet, or not Nature's Prophet, rather, Lone Druid, gonna fall down to the Prophet. So the holla get Dala just gets a little bit more richer. And right now, Luna and Nature's Prophet sitting the highest on the CS board. And it's gonna drop Lone Druid a little bit farther back. Meanwhile, the Lucent Beam fell, but the Bane wasn't quite there to drop the Nightmare, so wasn't able to pick up the Lycanthrope, but that could have been certain death on him. And here comes Shadow Shaman. Rotating in, so this tri-lane regrouping, getting back on into the position. All the blocking wards have pretty much gone. In fact, I don't think this ward has blocked anything, so it might have been a little bit of a fail ward. Actually, no, it was just placed, so probably got a stack in. It looks like both the Dire side going a little far under tower, but Lycanthrope not using his wolf to block out the bottleneck, and so they're able to just walk right away. Not the best micro, but as I say that, here comes Wardmancer. The Tangle is up, so they could get one out. The Bear doing not too much damage, but still enough, and Nature's Prophet denying the mid tower. So 7 minutes is the first tower to go down, and Cryptic Dark taking a lot of damage from the Wolves. In fact, these Wolves are doing lots, but 36 gold towards the Bane. It's not going to be too shabby. Looks like he's getting a little happy with setting his Wolves up to get a few attacks in. Aether Veneer, when he's at full health, he's an absolute monster in lane with the Lone Druid. In fact, Wardmancer seeing a lot of trouble. If the Entangle hits, if an Entangle proc goes down, that's almost certain death. Although this isn't the range for Aether Veneer, so if the Entangle does proc, Aether Veneer has a little bit of a ways to walk to get up to it. Kodiak sitting on relatively good farm, 1500 gold, and level 5 at 7 minutes, so not too far behind. Although he might get caught out in the jungle really soon, as they do have warriors out to spy him. And here comes the Bane, looking to get something. It's the Bane level 6. The Bane is not level 6, although not sure what they were doing, what their plan was there, but shackles didn't fall off. In fact, I think their plan was not to get hit by the creeps on every by every skill. So here comes Dragon Knight with a haste rune, but they do have Nightmare. The Dragon Tail, though, coming out just in time, and the Breathe Fire dealing plenty of damage to take out the Shadow Shaman. Meanwhile, Luna is able to take out the Leshrac on the back line, pops the Eclipse, and that is a very dead Lycanthrope. One more attack flying out, and the Lycanthrope is dead, but Luna's going to go down as well to the Dragon Knight, who picks up a triple kill. So Luna getting a double. Not too bad for her, but Dragon Knight consequently getting a triple. It looks like Lone Druid taking a lot of harass from this Razor, actually doing plenty of damage, and is getting buffed every single time he static links someone like the Bear or the Papa Bear or the Spirit Bear. And that's helping him get a few extra last hits. In fact, he's 38-2, higher than the Lone Druid, although not by too much. Highest still is the Luna with 41-14. Again, just a true testament to how strong her Lunar Blessing is. And this tower getting focused down by the Hell Bear, getting focused down by the Tormentor, as I just recently found out it's called. The Tormentor could go down to a few auto attacks. Yet the Tormentor is going to fall here, so. Although not the best creep to have, it does boost your HP regen, which is always nice, especially with a Dragon Knight on the field. But Azernir getting a free lane, and looks like well warded, grouping up as 5. So if I were to take a stance in this game, I wouldn't bet money on either of these teams. Gold is pretty much dead even, and XP is sitting at just 2k, and who is that? Ground Pound's favor. And just like that, looks like well warded is going to spot out, is going to spot out Kodiak, but not going to try anything on him. And they're going to go ahead and 5-man push down this tower. And if all goes well, I'm almost guaranteeing they're going to get it. Meanwhile, a little bit of a counter push going down on the mid, tier 2. And Taken is going to try to go and scare off the Nature's Prophet. He's going to successfully do that, but the Razor's going to TP in. Meanwhile, Lone Druid trading out the top tier 1. So a bottom tier 1 for the mid and the top. Rather, the mid didn't trade. I was wrong, but a bottom for a top. Not too bad of a trade, especially when you have the tower advantage already. So, as it stands, Ground Pound are going to go up a little bit more in the XP, and they're going to go up a little bit in the gold. And all in all, they've got a little bit of a cushion to work with. And that's exactly what they want with this kind of pushing lineup. You want to maintain the XP advantage so that when you push, you don't need all 5 there. You can split the push, have 4 in one lane and then 1 in another. Then that 1 is getting a lot of XP while the 4 are pushing towers, and then they have the 5-man to defend you. In which case, they're almost throttling their XP gain, their gold gain, and boosting up their, well, not really getting much out of it. In fact, we see from the XP earn that 5-man down the bottom lane wasn't really helpful in getting them anything. And here comes Wardmancer, spotting out the Lone Druid. Is going to get a good duration static link out on this Bear, who's going to be down to 13 damage, although he still does have Entangle. And Razor sitting at 93. Let's take a look at some of the items we got here. We have Kodiak from Ground Pound. Almost got his, almost sitting at his mech. He's a recipe and 800 gold on top of that until he gets the full mech out. Ground Coffee got his bottle in his treads, and he's going for his next item, which we've yet to see, although I imagine maybe a Shadow Blade or something of the like. Bottom tier 1 going down, so looks like Ground Pound further taking the tower advantage. They're going to push to tier 2. So let's put a hold on these items. Wax, the only other notable item with the Hand of Midas. So bottom tier 2 goes down without a fight, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. You got 4 in lane pushing quite successfully, and then 1 out getting a ton of XP, getting a ton of gold on himself, and they're going to go ahead and push this up to the high ground at 12 minutes, and going to do rather successful. In fact, Wardmancer going down to some good damage from Ground Pound. They're going to continue going right on this tower. Everyone's coming back, trying to defend the Hand of God, giving them another a second win. And Ajke going down a little bit to the odd attacks. Damage over time could certainly kill him. In fact, does it? No, I don't think it can kill him. They do take out the tower, and they're going right in on the racks, so it looks like Tenkin pulling out his wolves. This is a certain racks right now for a Ground Pound at 13 minutes. First racks. It looks like Tenkin taking a little bit of damage, but they turn it right around. The stun plus Ground Pound doing a ton of damage. and they pick up another few kills. So they force the issue, go up on the high ground. They force Well Worded to make a huge mistake in going in almost 1 by 1 and getting completely picked off. So I don't even want to look at the XP and gold graphs right now, but looking at them, regardless, it's quite scary for Well Worded. They had a little bit of the advantage coming into the game early, but now it's 5k and 7.5k XP and gold respectively, and it's going to be one hell of an XP lead and gold lead to come back from. They don't have too much in terms of late game. I mean, you got the Luna, who's a late game, and you got the Nature's Prophet, who's sort of a late game, but if you can't get there, and you can't find a way to deal with this Dragon Knight and Lone Druid, who are going to be uber late game, and Lycanthrope, who even is going to be uber late game, I mean, you've got a team of 3 carries, and they're not totally shut down. So, I mean, not only is Well Worded out late gamed right now, for the most part, they're out map controlled. And when I say out map controlled, I mean that their tower is gone, or in their first racks is already down, and the game isn't even past the 20-minute mark. So we're going to need to see some regroup, some really good 5-man strategic ganks and pushes, and hopefully they can make a return racks, and hopefully they can try to pull out this game. But as it stands right now, they have 4 rather, outer towers to burn through. And then on top of that, they got to break base against the Lone Druid, who's tanky as hell right now as it goes for 14-minute Lone Druids. A Dragon Knight, who's naturally tanky and is about to take down a Luna. No, she pops Eclipse and brings Ground Coffee down to a lot, but using an ultimate, not even grabbing a kill is something in and of itself. But so you got that Dragon Knight to deal with, all with the Hand of God on top of that. And you got a Lycanthrope, who's most likely going to be inside your base, taking out your tier 4s by the time you even get to their tier 2. Whatever the case is, I'm not liking Well Worded's positioning right now. Because again, if they 5-man it, you've got 3 lanes, and you got 3 pushers. Or rather, 2 really fast pushers. And I mentioned in the drafting phase how Well Worded might need to pick up a Lycanthrope to really counter that pushing prowess. Well, not only did they not pick up the Lycanthrope, they're now dealing with a Lycanthrope. And Lycanthrope and Lone Druid are arguably the 2 best pushers in the game. In fact, I'll go so far as to say that the 3 L's on Ground Pound, the Lycanthrope, the Leshrac, and the Lone Druid, are some of the best pushers in this game. And that's what I'm going to call the triple L strat. And they're pulling it off quite well right now. So, Well Worded, defending their tier 2 mid and doing it successfully as Ground Pound dispersing out, playing the farming game, playing the Roshan game, and Dragon Knight doing what he does, being the valiant hero he is, going after Roshan, save the damsel in distress. Rather, he's going to run away.
Bottom barracks are under attack.
Real heroic, Dragon Knight. Real heroic. I think he heard me, so he's going back at... No. He's going after the tree. A lot of hippies would be quite mad at him right now. So, Tenkin, if he wasn't scary enough, has a Medallion of Courage, and that's just too much. Luna getting caught between the Dragon Knight, who's outputting a ton of damage in his level 2 Elder Dragon form, and Tenkin, who's just melting anyone. And just look at this tower. Look at this tower. The Lone Druid is even there, and that looked like a Lone Druid was beating on. Again, I hold it to this team, able to take down towers in less than a couple of seconds. Although we won't even get the chance to see that, as they're just going to split push up and take out all the towers before it even gets there. And Brewery Bird getting Dragon Tail to the face and going down to pure auto attacks. Tenkin getting shackled up, but the Hand of God keeping him up a little bit longer. Although he will go down to a few auto attacks from the Lone Druid, and Ground Coffee as well, sitting in a very bad position, does go down to the Lucent Beam. A 2-for-1, except the 2 are 2 carries and the 1 is a Bane. So A really good defense by well warded. And in fact, they're still going. They're going on the Chen, but getting stunned up by the Centaur. And Dragon Knight gonna buy back, make it a little bit more difficult on them. As he's gonna TP mid. The Shadow Blade is out on him, and the Luna just going down. So getting a bit too greedy right there. And Wax just trying to TP out. Did get a creep caught in, so they had pure vision of him, but the Dragon Tail wasn't up. And Lone Druid just sitting there attacking the tower like there's no one else there. And the Bane saying, yeah, please don't take that tower. Please. Oh, okay. Just go ahead and take it. Lone Druid don't give anything for that. Lone Druid ain't scared of anything. Lone Druid one badass mofo.
Dire's bottom barracks are under attack.
So Ground Coffee sending in the little fire of his lungs into this creep wave, and they're gonna turn around and go right in on Roshan. So 12-7 at 18 minutes. Golden XP dipping quite up to the 10k advantage. Rather, I say dipping, skyrocketing to the 10k advantage in gold, and the XP at 7,500. So Lone Druid grabbing 19-minute radiance and is gonna just burn down creep waves quite literally. He can send that bear in wherever he wants, and the bear is gonna get the last hits for him without even trying to. The most skilled last hits are a bear with radiance halfway across the map. Hell, throw a radiance on the Lone Druid, you can be burning down 2 different lanes at once. I want to see that eventually. The Lone Druid go double radiance. Burn down 2 waves. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen eventually. I bet there's some pub game where that has happened. And the tears of many pubbies were shed. Luna doing exactly what she should be doing, trying to find farm in the most inconspicuous places. Although the mid lane isn't exactly what I'd call inconspicuous, still, it's good gold. And Aluna right now needs gold to build her items and to get damage. And without damage, she's not going to be doing anything to this team. Her Eclipse, still one of the most reliable ways to deal a lot of damage. Although it is level 1, it's coming up on level 2 and a few more creep deaths. And that's going to be one welcome sight for the well-worded team, as they struggle to find a way to bring down these heroes fast enough. Bravebird still has this Fiend's Grip, and I haven't seen that come out once in this game. If someone decides they have the audacity to come up onto this tower and try to kill it, you just Fiend's Grip him. And I mean, who has the Aegis? It's the Dragon Knight. So you Fiend's Grip whoever isn't the Dragon Knight. And you can take him out rather quickly, and then you've got one less hero to deal with. But for right now, start on getting the Enfeeble out on the bear. Get the static link on the Dragon Knight, enfeeble the bear, and just take their damage away from them. And right now, Dragon Knight's pure auto attack is enough to give the blood symbol whenever he hits. And Dragon Tail coming out, Wardman, but Elder Dragon form does come off, so they have the advantage, if at all, and they're going to go ahead and turn that around on the bear. And they're going to take it out with these wards doing plenty of damage. He does have another bear summon. In fact, I think that was the first bear that he lost. So he can go ahead and summon that right back up. But that's one less hero to have to worry about. Well, actually, no. He summons it back up. So it isn't one less hero to worry about. In fact, that's one less ultimate that you have in your pocket. They didn't waste the Eclipse yet. So, but Ground Pounder just going to go ahead and try to split push it up. Siege away. And that's exactly what it looks like they're doing. Is Rainier going ahead and finding all the lanes to farm. He can probably tank those wards at this point. The only reason he lost to them was because the bear was nightmared up. And they're going to go ahead and deal a lot of damage to this tower. Fiend's Grip the guy. Just do it. The Bane isn't there. They're going to try to get on the bear. No, the Shackles coming out on Ground Coffee. The Eclipse being used. Burning down his Aegis. And they're going to try to go ahead. The Fiend's Grip is up. Just put it on him. They do. There it goes. He's going to most definitely fall right here. And with the Dragon Knight down, it actually looks like while he was going down, Tenkin and Doyle points were going ahead and having their way with the mid-racks. And they're going to be able to take this down even under fire. They might lose their life for it, but the bottom racks went down. Melee mid went down. This is not a great position for well warded. In fact, Penitence out on the Luna. She's trying to do what she can. trying very hard, but no, she can't catch up, and ends up taking quite a bit of damage. In fact, Tenkin going right and out behind her. Cancels his wolf summon though, and that's the end of the chase for Ajkin. So all the racks exposed. In fact, half the racks have already died. So well worded, just sitting up in their base. If they win a team fight, they still have 4 towers to take out. If they lose a team fight, it's GG. They've got themselves stuck between a rock and a hard place, and right now the rock is 30,000 tons, and the hard place is any Republican ever. Not too great of a position for them. A little bit of a disclaimer, I have nothing against anyone of any political affiliation. That was just a joke. Just a joke. Alright, so, with that aside, we're just waiting for something to happen here. Lone Druid farming it up. Because that's what a Lone Druid likes. He likes the gold. Despite being a man of the forest, he still likes currency. Meanwhile, I actually think he's more prophet than nature's prophet. Let's take a look at some net worth here. Yep, he's more prophet than nature's prophet right now. In fact, by quite a big margin. And ground pound, grouping up. Gonna go for the big release right here. If they can successfully do it, it's GG. If they can't, they still have a few more tries. No pressure. And just burning down that Shadow Shaman without any effort. Looks like the Fiend's Grip dropping on ground coffee, but with the Hand of God, it's going to keep him up for too long, and they're just burning down every single hero. The Radiance isn't helping at all. And with 4 heroes down, that's a free rocks. In fact, they're going to go ahead, take out these racks, go ahead, rotate in, and there's the GGs, guys. So 25 minutes. All the racks are gone, and the GGs have been thrown. Well played on the side of ground pound. Now we just have to wait and see for game 2 whether or not Well Warded can pick it back up and make this series a 1-1. Guys, you've been listening to Chicago Ted with Statsman Sir Rabbit Koala. Game 2 is coming up next.